We are socially conditioned to react to a sudden interruption with joy. A door violently bursting open for a surprise party or a spontaneous vacation is expected to trigger instant, overwhelming excitement. But for a specific type of mind, that same event triggers something else entirely: a spike of dread, a rush of pure, acute anxiety. This mismatch creates immediate social friction. When you recoil from a sudden shift in plans, peers often label you a buzzkill or a control freak who refuses to let go. This leads to a persistent cycle of guilt. You recognize that the gift or the spontaneous detour was well-intentioned, yet your internal alarm system is already in full defensive mode. Surprise aversion is an ingrained physiological stress response. It is a protective measure designed to keep the environment stable and turn potential chaos into something manageable. To understand why a well-meaning surprise falls flat, we have to look past the social tension. We have to examine the brain's internal logic for managing an unpredictable world. An overthinking mind operates on a highly active baseline, constantly scanning the horizon to identify and categorize upcoming events before they arrive. This is mental rehearsal. It is the primary tool the brain uses to turn the inherent chaos of the day into a predictable, manageable script. This diagram represents that forecasting process. As abstract events approach on the timeline, the brain identifies them and locks them into a specific sequence, creating a psychological framework where the world feels stable. A surprise functions as a rogue element. Because it was never scanned or categorized, it bypasses the rehearsal scanners and inserts itself directly into the middle of the established sequence. The immediate result is a total loss of situational control. When the mind cannot rehearse the situation beforehand, the internal script fractures, and the loss of predictability registers as intense mental discomfort. For these individuals, a surprise isn't a gift. It is a sudden, catastrophic failure of their primary coping mechanism. This leads to a deeper question. Why does the mind require such a rigid, rehearsed script just to feel at peace? This behavior often develops as a learned adaptation to past instability. If someone has experienced environments where safety wasn't guaranteed, the brain learns that predictability is the only reliable way to prevent harm. This chart shows two different ways the mind manages its environment. On the left, a mind with a secure history can tolerate erratic peaks and valleys, interpreting high intensity as excitement or thrill. But a mind that has adapted to past instability reacts differently. It prioritizes consistency over intensity. It isn't chasing excitement. It is chasing the safety of a flat, unbroken line. This explains why even a good surprise triggers a threat response. Any unexpected spike in intensity, regardless of the intent, threatens the hard-won equilibrium of that stable baseline. Rejecting a surprise is the brain successfully executing its mandate to protect itself by choosing consistency over chaos. Once we understand this mental architecture, we can view the social tension of a surprise party through a much clearer lens. What the giver sees as a spontaneous gesture, the recipient experiences as a violent disruption of the routine they rely on to stay regulated. Demanding predictability is a logical strategy for maintaining mental stability. It is an active way of managing an overthinking mind. Validating this response allows individuals to move past the guilt of their reactions and recognize that their need for a script is a legitimate tool for psychological health. It also changes how we set boundaries. Expressing a need for a heads-up or a set schedule isn't about being difficult. It is a request for the peace that comes with knowing what to expect. For someone who navigates the world this way, the most meaningful gesture isn't the shock of the new. It is the profound, quiet comfort of knowing exactly what comes next.